All right, what's up, guys? Thank you for watching. This is Three Steps to Reset Your Health, the recorded version with Coach Chanel and NNCF Nutrition. There's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of confusing and conflicting information around nutrition and around health and wellness in general, and especially about how to do any type of a reset on your health. So, we're going to simplify it today, and you're going to walk away with three super simple, easy steps that you can take right now to reset your health and take control of the way you feel. And whether you are trying to lose weight, gain muscle, or just increase your performance, or just feel better, you're going to walk away with tools that you need to get started towards that goal. All right, let's get started. Before we dive in, it's important to talk about the six pillars of holistic health. This is something that guides our whole nutrition program at NNCF. We know that something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. Like I just mentioned, there's a lot of overcomplication out there when it comes to nutrition, but we take a very simple habits-based approach. And we don't just talk about nutrition when we're trying to improve our health and reach goals. We know that it takes more than just what we eat, but it also has to do with our stress levels, our sleep, our exercise, support systems, and lifestyle. So we're going to cover all of those things today, not just what's on our plate. And then this is a beautiful picture of some of our NNCF peeps. Our mission is you guys, and not just supporting you inside of the gym when you come to class and show up to work out, but supporting you outside the gym as well. So like I just mentioned, the six pillars of holistic health, we're going to be covering all of those things, a lot of which happen outside of the gym, outside of class, like, sleep and stress management and support systems. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, a lot of details that have to do with the rest of your lifestyle, not just diet and exercise. So let's get into it. Step one, go ahead and grab a piece of paper or something to write with because we are going to do a self-assessment. You are going to grade yourself on each one of the six pillars of holistic health. I'm going to walk you through each and every one of these and give you a few questions and a few prompts to help you figure out what you should grade yourself. You're going to pick a letter from A to F, A being really, really strong in that area. You're doing great. And then F, you need a lot of help in that area. Maybe you're struggling a bit. And it's okay if there's a lot of room for improvement. You've got more C's, D's, and F's, that's fine. And if you've got some A's and B's, that's great too. Then you've got some strengths. But just be honest and don't write down what you would like to be, but write down what you truly feel you are right now. All right, let's go. The first pillar we are going to self grade ourselves on is nutrition. And when we talk about nutrition at NNCF, we like to use the plate method as a guide. So, looking at this plate, this is a perfect example of what the plate method is. We want half of our plate to be non-starchy vegetables. So, things like broccoli, leafy greens, asparagus, tomato, peppers, eggplant. Those would all count for that half of our plate. And then we want a quarter of our plate to be starchy carbs. So the starchier vegetables like potatoes, corn, squashes. We've also got beans and rice on this corner. Bread and pasta would also fit there. And then we've got our lean proteins in the bottom corner. We want lean proteins like chicken breasts, lean cuts of steak, fish, and seafood. And yeah, and even tofu would be on there if you're plant-based. And then up off to the side in the corner, we've got our healthy fats. And these don't have a section on our plate because usually the oil or fats that we use to cook with or drizzle over our salad is enough. It doesn't have to take up a whole section on the plate. So looking at the plate method as a guide for our nutrition and looking at these three questions: are you eating mostly whole and processed foods like they're found in nature? So less things in bags and boxes with barcodes, more whole fruits and veggies, more, natural lean meats. Are you practicing balance and using mindful portions, for example, the plate method? And are you limiting your sugar intake? Taking all this into account, go ahead and give yourself a grade. How you think you're doing with your nutrition right now? And then we'll be on to the next pillar, stress management and mindset. And this is so underestimated when it comes to achieving our goals. Stress has to do with so much. Literally, it has to do with, our levels of motivation and how disciplined we're able to be and our hormone health. So, what is your current level of stress? 1 to 10. One, you're super zen, really chill right now. And then 10, you're just barely hanging on. You're just flying by the seat of your pants right now. And then, do you practice self-care? Do you take time for yourself? And then, do you have positive tools? What tools do you use to manage stress? If you think about the things that you turn to in times of stress, are they more negative or are they positive? Do they actually help? Because some things seem to help in the short term, in the immediate, but in the long run, they're really just harming us. So, what tools do you have? Give yourself a grade for stress management, A through F, and then we'll get to the next pillar. All right, sleep. So, when it comes to sleep, sleep is so important when it comes to reaching our goals, whether it's fat loss or muscle gain or just feeling better. A lot of important things happen when we sleep, like the production of really important hormones, um, our metabolism. So, are you getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night? And what does your wind down routine look like? Do you have a wind down routine or do you kind of just go to bed, scroll on your phone until you fall asleep, sort of thing? And then how do you feel when you wake up? No matter how much sleep you get, if you got plenty of sleep, do you still wake up feeling like you got hit by a bus or do you wake up feeling refreshed? Taking all these things into account, go ahead and grade your sleep A through F. And we've got the next pillar is exercise. And this one, if you're a member at NNCF and working out with us, taking 3 or more classes a week, you are already doing pretty well on this one. But thinking outside of class, outside of the gym, are you getting 30 minutes of movement per day? And not just walking around the house or at your job, but are you going out for a walk, a couple 15-minute walks or a 30-minute walk at the end of the day? Are you getting outside and playing with the dog or your kids? Are you getting active even when you're not in class? And then do you work on strength training 3 or more times a week? Strength training is so important for our metabolic health because the more muscled we are, the more calories go towards feeding that muscle versus just staying on our body as fat. It's also great for our bone health and our hormone health. Strength training is super important. I know a lot of us also use it as a form of therapy, really great for our mental health too. So go ahead and grade yourself there. And we're on to the next one. We've got support system. And if you're coming to NNCF, you've got us on your team. We are part of your support system too. So you can already kind of bump that up a letter grade probably. But looking at your support system outside of the gym, we are an average of the 5 people closest to us. And it's okay if you can't think of 5 people. I could only think of 2 or 3 when I came to this question personally. But just think of 2 or 3 or even 5 people closest to you. Are they supportive of your goals? If you told them something you're working on, are they going to support you? Are they going to help you? And are they in alignment with your goals? Are they kind of where you want to be? Can they even mentor you in the process? Or are they completely opposite or just like not at all on the same page as you and things you want to do and accomplish? All right, grade your support system A through F. And then we've got lifestyle. Make the healthy choice the easy choice. So I like to explain lifestyle a little bit more because that seems kind of broad. Like lifestyle, what does that mean? So a healthy lifestyle can add years of chronic disease-free life. Lifestyle is really everything that we do outside of the gym. Who are you outside of these 4 walls? Who are you when you're with your family, with your friends? What is your environment like? So your home environment, your work environment, does your lifestyle at home, at work, with friends, does it align with your goals? Because when you're in the gym, it definitely does. When you're working out with your peers and your fellow athletes, it does. But when you go home, on the weekend, what are you doing? Does it align? So I like to give this example. If you come over to my house and I have a bowl of cookies on the table, you're probably going to have a cookie, right? But if I had a bowl of fruit out instead, you're not going to have a cookie because there's no cookies around. You're probably going to have a piece of fruit. So our environment and our lifestyle outside of the gym, what our home environment is like, what we do for fun, our hobbies, that stuff makes a huge difference when it comes to reaching our goals. It is so much more than just showing up in the gym and pushing ourselves during class. It's what we do at home, what we do on the weekends in our free time, our lifestyle. So go ahead and grade your lifestyle, how it aligns or maybe doesn't align with your goals, A through F. And we are on to step two. So we're done with the self-assessment. You can look at how you graded yourself on all six pillars. Maybe you've got a lot of room for improvement, some more C's and D's, maybe F's, and maybe you've got some strengths. Definitely, we want to focus on those strengths too and celebrate those wins. If you've got some A's and B's, that's great. But right now, what I want you to do is look over that assessment and pick one thing. Just one. There might be many things that you want to work on. Try not to, get overexcited. Just pick one thing. Maybe it's the thing that you need the most work on. Maybe it's an F or a D, or maybe it's something that you're not that bad with. Maybe you've got a B or a C there, but you're the most excited and motivated at this moment to get started working on that thing. But pick one thing that you want to work on, no matter what it is. Go ahead and circle it or underline it. Pick that thing, and then let's move on. Now, I want you to think of a daily habit, something that you can do every single day or almost every day. So maybe just 3 times a week at least, or Monday through Friday, but every day would be ideal. Something that you can do every day or regularly that will help you work on that one thing that we just picked. So, for example, let's say that my one thing is sleep, and I'm looking to improve my sleep. My daily habit that I would pick to improve my sleep, because I'm waking up feeling like I just got hit by a bus, I'm not getting 7 to 8 hours in, I need to work on it. So, my one thing to work on sleep is going to be going to bed at 9:30 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday. We'll just start with that because the weekend is kind of tough for me. But Monday through Friday, no matter what, I'm going to get to bed at 9:30 so that I can improve my sleep quantity and quality and wake up feeling better. So that's just an example. Sleep doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to pick going to bed earlier, but what is your one thing that you can do? Daily habits equal compound change, just like compound interest. You do a little bit every single day, over time, it adds up. So hopefully you've picked that one thing and you've written down one thing that you can do daily or at least 3 times a week at the very least. Outline when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, plan it out because when we have a plan, we are that much more likely to succeed. And now that you have that one thing and you have that step that you're going to start taking, step three here is find your tribe. So when we talked about support system earlier, hopefully there's at least one person in your life, even if it's one of us, if it's me, if it's one of your coaches at the gym, or maybe a fellow athlete that you see in class all the time. I want you to have at least one person that you can share with this goal that you have, or this habit that you're going to start working on. So if I was going to start working on sleep and I'm going to start going to bed earlier, I'm going to tell Sherry, because I always see Sherry when I go to, 8 a.m. class. And I'm going to say, Sherry, next time I see her at the gym, I'm working on this goal. This is why I'm working on it. I've been sleeping terribly. I've been going to bed really late and I want to start going to bed at 9:30. Will you help keep me accountable for this when I see you again this week? Will you help me? Will you shoot me a text at this time? Or can I text you and tell you I'm going to bed? Because likely Sherry or whoever you're using as your accountability buddy, whoever you found in your tribe, it's very likely that they've got something that they want to work on too. And you can help keep them accountable as well. So it's a win-win scenario here. So find somebody, whether it's a family member or friend, a coach, or a fellow athlete at the gym who can support you in this, or at least you can just tell them what you're working on. Because when we share our goals with people and we get that social factor involved, studies show that we are so much more likely to actually pursue and achieve that goal. All right, so we've got step one, two, and three. We're not going to end today without going over our core nutrition principles. So these are the core NNCF nutrition principles. And if you picked your one thing as nutrition, these are really going to help you out. If you didn't, still screenshot this, take a picture, write these down, because these are our This is basically our foundation for nutrition. First, we focus on whole foods. We eat meats and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar, or we like to say minimal sugar. And this is actually the CrossFit prescription for nutrition. And this is good nutrition at its core. When you eat those whole foods, you are going to get all the nutrients that you need. You're going to usually eat it in balanced amounts because whole foods are really satiating. They fill us up because they're full of fiber and protein and healthy fats. And yeah, like I said, you're going to give your body everything that it needs, all the nutrients, because they're very nutrient dense. They've got all the vitamins and minerals that we need. So we want to start with that. Focus on eating whole foods first. And then number two, focus on balance of macronutrients. So, like that plate method we talked about earlier, incorporate protein, low glycemic carbs, and healthy sources of fat with all your meals and snacks. This is again going to ensure that you get all the nutrients that you need, and then you eat the right amounts of food to support your goals. So you're not over consuming or under consuming. If you're using the plate method, you're usually going to be getting the right amount of fiber and protein to support your body and support your performance, but not gain unwanted weight and body fat. And then number three, you want to limit the amount of processed carbohydrates and sugar. And this one really ties into number one, but it's worth mentioning because this right here is probably one of the hardest because we live in the 21st century where processed carbs and sugar are everywhere. And it's usually what we crave and what we like. It's comfort food, it's a sweet treat. Sometimes it's, what we want in times of stress or boredom. But these foods are really low in nutrients, higher in calories, and really hard to stop eating because they're so palatable, because they're so tasty. A great example I like to give here is if I gave you a bag of potato chips, especially if you love potato chips, you'd probably crush that whole bag easily. It's a family size bag, it's for sharing, but we could probably eat the whole thing because they're crunchy, crispy, salty, and fried up. They're yummy. But if I give you the same amount of potatoes that are in that bag of chips, but I give it to you in boiled potato form, or like I just bake a bunch of potatoes and give it to you plain, I don't butter it or salt it, I just give them to you, it would really be tough to eat that many potatoes. Even though you could crush them in potato chip form, crushing them in baked potato, plain old baked potato form would be a lot harder because they're not as palatable and they're way more satiating, way more filling. They haven't been super processed and fried up and salted and greased up. So that's why eating whole foods in their natural form and having things that are less processed and don't come in bags or boxes with barcodes is going to help us eat enough, but not too much. And it's going to help us eat all of the nutrients that we need in our diet. All right, so make sure you screenshot this or write these down. We're switching the page. And then I'd like you to reflect over all your notes right now, over your one thing, over the steps that you're going to take to work on that one thing, those daily habits that are going to compound, and then your tribe. So, someone you're going to tell about this if you haven't told anybody or sent that text already, who's going to help support you. Hopefully, you've got all those things written down and squared away. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our nutrition coaching program. And this right here is a little picture of what it's like to open up the HSN app. We've partnered with HSN, which is Healthy Steps Nutrition here at NNCF. It is a program that is built and backed by dietitians, registered dietitians, because I'm a nutrition coach certified through HSN and certified through Precision Nutrition. But now through Healthy Steps Nutrition, you will be able to, through working with me, you'll be able to work closely with these registered dietitians, not just with your nutrition coach, that's me. You'll be working with these registered dietitians. I will be working with them in order to build a program that is completely personalized to you and that's perfect for your goals, whether it's building muscle, getting stronger, just increasing your performance, or if you're trying to lose weight. We are going to work together to coach you and build a program for you. And a few questions about how we do our nutrition coaching and about NNCF nutrition. Why focus on one thing at a time? What about two? So earlier, when I forced you guys to pick one thing after that self-assessment, the reason I did that is if I give you one ball to hold in your hand, and I'm like, all right, hold on to this tennis ball and do everything you do in a normal day, you'd probably be able to get by. You could probably cook, eat, drive, maybe even do a little workout, holding that ball in one hand. But if I give you two tennis balls, I'm like, here, hold a tennis ball in each hand and now go about your day. You're kind of, stuck. Can't really drive, can't really open doors, can't really eat or cook or do anything that you need to do because you've got a ball in each hand. And studies actually show that focusing on one thing and working on one habit or one goal, a year later, people were 80% more likely to be successful and consistent with that goal or that habit. But if they added two things, so if they were doing just two things instead of one at one time, fast forward a year later, that likelihood of success drops from 80% down to less than 30 just by adding one thing on top of it. So that's why we focus on one thing at a time. This is how we do our nutrition coaching. If you ever work with me or if you're working with me now, you know this. Even if we get really excited and motivated at the beginning, work on one thing at a time. And then once we're super confident and consistent with that thing, then we add on. But yeah, that's the why behind that. And then if you're not losing weight, if I'm not losing weight, how do I know if I'm making progress? And this is a fair question. It's super confusing sometimes when we are putting in the work, showing up to classes at the gym, eating the right things, or so we think. We're eating the right things and doing our best, and the scale is not moving, or maybe it even goes up a pound or two. It can be super confusing, and sometimes that can be due to muscle gain. So a body recomposition is when you're gaining muscle and losing body fat. That's great. That's what we want. We want to have less body fat, more muscle, especially if we're lifting weights and eating protein. That is what should be happening. But sometimes it can be confusing because if we're gaining muscle a little bit faster than we're losing body fat, the scale can actually go up before it goes down. But this is nothing to worry about. This is totally okay. It can just be a little alarming if you're relying on just looking at the pounds on the scale. So when we do nutrition coaching at NNCF Nutrition, we do what you see right here in this picture. We take measurements. So we'll take your inches on your belly, on your hips, on your waist, on your thigh, and on your arm, so that we can track your body fat and muscle and where you are gaining or losing inches in what areas. We also do a comprehensive in-body scan, which is biometric testing. You stand on the scale and hold on to it, and it scans your body, taking your body fat percentage, your lean muscle mass, even your water weight that you're holding on to, your visceral fat mass, breaks down all of those things so that we're not just relying on the number on the scale and how many pounds you weigh on that particular day. We're looking at your lean muscle mass versus your body fat so that we're actually able to see what's happening and get into all those nitty-gritty details. And then I love this picture. How is NNCF nutrition coaching different than just another fad diet? Well, first of all, you're not going to be stuck eating lettuce on a plate like this ever. No, we want you to be fueled and fed. Um, we're not going to have you focus on 10 things at a time. I don't know if you've ever tried, I know I have before, try to do a challenge or a diet that has you change 10 things in your life at one time. So you're drinking a gallon of water, you're going for a mile run, you're hitting the gym that same day, you're reading, you're going to bed at 9 o'clock, you're journaling, you're meditating. Have you ever tried that or anything similar to that? And then just like on day three, been completely burnt out, and just like crashed and had a pint of ice cream? I mean, I feel like we've all been there before. So we work on one thing at a time. You're going to get accountability, encouragement, education along the way. We're not just going to give you a here, do this and go. You're going to have someone hold your hand every step of the way. That someone being me, your nutrition coach. Um, and this is not a one size fits all. This is not paleo, keto, low carb, carnivore, or vegan. You're going to get something completely tailored to you through me and through HSN, Healthy Steps Nutrition, that fits your lifestyle, that fits your needs. It's not going to just be a band-aid solution that we give to everybody. It is going to be something with your name on it that is specific to you. And it's moldable and adaptable. If you're going on a trip, we got you. We could work around it. If you're moving, we got you. We can work around it. If something comes up or changes in your life, this program is totally adaptable for you because life happens sometimes. And, something as fundamental as nutrition should not be super complicated. It should be simple and it should be able to fit into our lives. So this is an example or a few examples of some people, some athletes and clients who have had amazing success using Healthy Steps nutrition coaching, using the app and using this program. focusing on one thing at a time, compounding habits over time, in the span of anywhere from like 5 to 7 months to even a few weeks. Notice we're not just focused on what we're losing, but focused on what we're gaining too. So gaining strength, endurance, confidence, gaining confidence in a sustainable plan. Notice we focus on not just weight loss, but body fat percentage, inches, and muscle. So yeah, let's get started. Let's create your success story. If you are feeling like you did that self-assessment and you're like, man, I've got a lot of stuff to work on. Right now, this is as of June 2025. We've got 2 out of 10 spots available for summer. So that is until school starts back up again in August. We filled up our spots mostly in May, but we've got a couple more spots left. If you want to do one-on-one coaching with me, Coach Chanel, before August, we can get started. You can text "I'm ready" with your name to the number you see right there on the bottom left. We can create a customized plan with you. We'll sit down and do your initial consultation and transform your health from there. So let's go. Let's take it to the next level. And if you have any questions and you want to text "I'm ready," but I have some questions to that number, that is totally fine too. You can set up a free, no strings attached goal setting session. It takes 20 minutes. It can be done virtually or with me in person at the gym. And we can talk about taking the next steps to get you to start nutrition coaching and how it can benefit you. All right, guys, that wraps up this talk. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. And I wish you the best of luck and success working on those goals and working on those habits. You got this, guys.